Hello indie game fans! Indie game developers are keeping the spirit of the 3D platformer alive with throwbacks to the Super Mario 64s and the Banjo-Kazooies of the world. So upcoming games begins with the Gecko Gods, a long in development title where of course you play as a gecko, which looks pretty fun in itself. Being able to stick to surfaces, perhaps there is less of an emphasis on platforming, but you can still jump and even swing using physics to solve various puzzles as you explore this tiny, mysterious island. I do like the look of this game, and while it has been in development for quite a while, the developer's last post on Twitter was in April, so there are still signs of life. Speaking of social media, the developer of A Webbing Journey has been sharing funny bugs of their game, since this physics-based sandbox platformer definitely has room for doing crazy things when it bugs out. You play as a spider, exploring a house, having to complete various household chores like loading the dishwasher or mopping the floors, with an intricate setup involving your webs and joining things together, looking lighthearted and fun even if you are not a spider person. This video is brought to you by Super Sami Roll 2, a charming 3D platformer which is the sequel to Super Sami Roll from 2021, a hidden gem of a 3D platformer that stars this dinosaur-like creature called Sami, with the main mechanics of a grappling tongue as well as rolling physics. In this sequel, the evil villain has captured Sami's friends and intends to add them to his zoo on the moon, so you have to free your friends one by one by platforming your way through a number of exciting and wondrous locations. The whole thing about this game is the free-form movement and rolling physics which you need to master, allowing for unique playstyles as you make your way through the levels. You are free to explore and see all the details in the game, or to turn it into a speed running challenge, and with multiple playable characters with distinct special abilities will give you plenty of options. This is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter, so go check out their campaign page, where the best way to know if you want to back it is to try their demo, which is available on Steam, which includes 5 levels and about 30 to 40 minutes of playtime, so give it a shot and back this awesome game via the link in the description below. One of the best kept secrets in the indie gaming space is that of developer Siaktro and the Toree series, although they do make other throwback platformers as well, and following Toree 3D and Toree 2, they are now making Toree Saturn, which of course looks as if it belongs on the Sega Saturn. This console is not the most common of inspirations for indie games, since we have a lot of SNES, N64 and even PS1 looking games, so that alone makes it stand out, and add to the fact that it's a Toree game, which means that it should be great. Like their other titles, this is about running through linear levels while avoiding enemies and collecting stars, having a little bit of a speed running aspect, but for the most part, the gameplay is simple to understand but is difficult to master. You can just run around and jump, but requires a degree of skill and timing if you want to get the best time, where learning the level layouts will be critical as well. You can double jump, ground dash, which allows you to descend quickly and to get a speed boost when you hit the ground, as well as hone in on stars for an extra boost in height and speed, all while avoiding obstacles and enemies along the way. Since this is inspired by the Saturn, I do wonder what is next for this developer if they eventually move to Unreal Engine 5 and make a hyper-realistic Toree game, but that is part of the fun of indie games, so definitely stay tuned. Somehow, 3D platformers as a genre does involve you playing as all sorts of different animals and creatures, in addition to the more humanoid-looking ones, with a title of interest being I Am a Caterpillar. Now, I don't usually associate caterpillars with jumping, but you can in this game, where for the most part, you are crawling around 3D objects but can launch yourself and move yourself through the air to stick that perfect landing, along with a dash move that looks kind of fun. The goal in this game is to avoid transforming into a butterfly, hence the shenanigans of the game, as you explore and try to find a special place that will allow you to do just that. The art is pretty whimsical as well, with the cute-ish bugs, where NPCs will give you objectives to complete as well. It is supposed to have plenty of hidden secrets and surprises, which should make exploration fun, and is certainly one that I'm keeping an eye on. Of course, no list of indie 3D platformers would be complete without at least one N64 inspired title, where I do have my eye on Spherebuddie 64. This has a relatively simple visual style, which might be more in line with the hardware of the day, where you play as a spherical protagonist which is undefined by the developer, but appears to be some sort of spiky chicken to me, as you explore the world and participate in classic collectathon style gameplay. This has all the hits, from precise jumps, dashes, and even swimming and underwater segments, so hopefully the controls are not as finicky, with it, I believe, having some modern touches like physics in platforms that swing when you land on it, which is in line with modern games. So while it looks like a throwback, there are other things going on under the hood, with there being a demo available as well, so check it out if interested. A game which is simply fun to say is Teeto, being a classically designed two-character 3D platformer, this time starring a blob and a bunny as they make their way through the world. However, there is an added gimmick of our hero Teeto being able to absorb items from the environment to change his form in a manner similar to Super Mario Odyssey, such as a flower form, an electrical form that lets him power up household objects, or even a trash form so that he can generate banana peels and balls of paper. The world is overrun with dark and shadowy monsters, so there is a light combat element and is the central antagonistic force in the game. There are platforming challenges, puzzles to solve, strange and unique environments, and even characters to help, such as a pigeon. There are also unlockable outfits, with the bunny character conveniently changing outfits to match as well, looking very well made, so try the demo if you're curious. I have a number of rage games in this list as well, one of which is the infuriatingly named Get Tilted Smiley Face. You play as a potted plant, which is new to me, hopping and flipping your way across the levels as you make your way through a grand city. Curiously, the developers say that this has new, innovative potted plant controls that really make you feel like a plant, whatever that means, having a very interesting tilt and rotation mechanic that sees your pot wobbling all over the place. You will have to master this, as well as tactical hops and flips, making your way across precariously thin ledges and beams, rotating gears and more as you ascend the city in a manner similar to getting over it. At least from the trailer, I don't see the pot breaking, but I'm sure it will still be devastating if you fall from a great height, but it looks kind of cute and well made, which makes it of interest. Here's a gorgeous looking title named Hela, in which you play as a mouse, exploring Scandinavian-inspired landscapes, and just looks like the most wonderful thing. When a kind witch falls ill, her familiars go on a quest to seek out a cure for her, and you play as such a brave mouse, traversing across the land. The almost photorealistic natural environments are the highlight, and look gorgeous, which, combined with the 3D platforming aspects, gives this game quite the appeal. You will be able to glide through the air, and will have realistic physics to boot, giving the platforming a little bit of a tactile feel and looks awesome. Additionally, there will also be co-op support with friends that does look kind of chaotic, but otherwise, interacting with this world looks like a delight, with its share of puzzles, secrets, and a heartwarming story as well. Alright, here is one of the weirder and more innovative titles, since Electrokinetic self-describes as a roguelike 3D platformer where you will be able to create your own movesets to tackle procedurally generated levels in cyberspace, looking like high risk, high reward to me. I know that some of you are sick of roguelites, but hear me out, since there is the potential for infinite replayability here, given that the levels and challenges are procedurally generated. It is one thing to do this in side-scrollers or 3/4 view isometric titles, and a completely other thing to do it in a 3D space, since the added dimension, I think, exponentially increases the number of factors you need to consider. There will be automated security protocols to deal with, so there's some sort of enemy in this game where your moves include air jump, dash, slide, attack, and more. Of course, whether the levels end up being fun or not will depend on its algorithm, so I'm holding off judgment until then, but it's a curiosity for sure.
Oh, visitors!
There is some news with regards to PaperKlay since I covered this last year and it now has a release window of Q2 2025. This stars two characters, morbidly named Chick and Nugget, in a world of paper and cardboard, which gives it a unique look, being a classic collectathon style game, but in which you are able to hit switches to change the state of the world. This includes turning day into night or to drastically alter the platforming challenges, with the way that the world changes looking pretty neat. There are fully voiced characters with a look and UI elements reminding me of games like Yooka-Replaylee in presentation, so it looks like a very classically designed one of these, so if you're a fan of the genre, this is one to check out. Another N64 inspired title is Skylark 64, where you play as a flying squirrel and looks like it nails everything in terms of visuals and presentation, even down to the 4:3 resolution of old instead of white screen. The leaves of the world tree are falling and you have to collect them all, platforming and gliding your way around open, non-linear levels and collecting said soul leaves as well as acorns along the way. I think that this looks pretty dope and in an old school fashion even has split screen co-op support. The developers are planning to have 10 levels and will have 7 pieces of armor to collect with unique power-ups, which will come in handy in the boss fights along with mini-games and side modes, so it looks like the full package. However, we will have to wait a little while for this with its projected 2026 release, but in the meantime, definitely add it to your wishlist so that you don't forget. The more runner type games will be in another list, but I've included 3D exploration platformers here, aka a short hike likes, with a Corgi's cozy hike looking like a charming one of these. You, of course, play as a Corgi with a cape, using your Corgi butt powers to climb around this peaceful island in search of treats and cozy nap spots. This looks super charming, where the short stubby legs of the Corgi does not impede your movement since you do have butt powers to help, with the cape allowing you to glide short distances as well. As such, it's a charming and relaxing looking title with the vibrant colours and art style certainly helping as well, along with the activities that you do, including talking to the other characters and helping them out, which can include something as minor as pushing someone on a swing. Being a dog game, of course you can let people pet you, and you can also boop the noses of other dogs in this game, and in line with the cozy vibes, 10% of your purchase will be donated to animal shelters and looks like a very wholesome game. The biggest example of if you know you know in this list is Orbo's Exodus, since while it doesn't look like much, this is the follow-up to Orbo's Odyssey from 2023, which has more than 1000 Steam reviews, so people do love this developer, with it being a fast-paced and frenetic 3D platformer that is kind of wild to look at. The story begins when Orbo crash lands on a new island paradise, losing track of his friend Peeb in the process, and now has to embark on a new quest to buy a ferry to get back to the mainland. As compared to the earlier game, Orbo will have new moves and abilities and can equip hats, which gives him new powers as well, such as the drill, propeller and bowler caps respectively. There's also rolling physics in this, since Orbo can transform into a wheel, which lets him move quickly and pull off aerial stunts when flying off ramps, looking to be one of the faster moving games in this list. The weird, otherworldly design of Orbo, as well as the level designs, gives it a strange and surreal vibe, with the island hiding its own dark secrets as well, and should be a must-get for fans of the genre. Another rage game of interest is Egging On, a 3D platformer where you play as an egg, and unlike Get Tilted mentioned earlier, the egg does crack if you fall from too great a height. Your mission? To escape the hen house and then to make your way through a shop, a kitchen and other dangerous places, with its share of insane level designs that is befitting for a game in this genre. Interestingly, there is egg physics, since the egg shape means that you are not rolling around smoothly like a ball, and if you jump when the pointed part of the egg is in contact with the ground, you will jump higher, so there are considerations like this, and might just cause a few broken controllers when this releases. Just a quick one here, since we just have a teaser for Project Tides as of recording. coming to us from developer Febreze, who made the excellent Slime Sun as well as Demon Turf, with their next game being another platformer of course. I don't have any details as of yet, but it looks cool and is supposed to have a massive open world to explore and describes itself as an expressive 3D platformer, whatever that means, but there are glimpses of human characters in this teaser, so it has got me intrigued at the very least. I last took a look at Project Feline last year, where at the time, this 3D parkour-focused platformer had a release window of 2024, which has since been changed to TBA, being a 2000s anime-style title that looks pretty fun. The gimmick around this game is speed and momentum, since you can run, glide and slide around on any surface to build momentum, going faster and faster so that you can pull off those sick looking parkour style wall running and jumps. You play as Gabby, a feline human fugitive in search of her missing family, having to avoid robot-like sentinels in your quest, and has a little bit of that intentional limited frames animation to the character, with this developer documenting the trials and tribulations of making this game on YouTube, so do check it out. I thought it was a bit of a strange announcement when Yooka-Replaylee was revealed, since this is a remake of Playtonic's first title, Yooka-Laylee, and then I realized that it was released in 2017, so that has been 7 coming to 8 years already. Time flies, and in case you forgot, this game is made by ex-Rare developers and smashed its Kickstarter target, showing that people really do want to see more 3D platformers, but it launched to a mixed reception, with some saying that it was too old school and felt outdated, but at the same time, that was exactly what people signed up for. Perhaps due to the time pressure of having to deliver on a Kickstarter, they were unable to realize the true vision of the game, hence this remake, but it will be an enhanced release as well. There's a new collectible currency in coins, which you can spend in the world, a new world map and challenge tracker as a form of quality of life improvement, new game-changing tonics to alter the game, improvements and tweaks to existing challenges, entirely new challenges added and more. Honestly, this looks pretty great, so maybe second time's the charm for this, but do note that it will not be free for original owners, but they have confirmed that some amount of discount will be granted, so just a tip, you might want to pick up the original on Steam during the upcoming Steam sale, since it goes for up to 80% discount to be eligible when this remaster releases. One of the 3D platformers that I'm most excited about is Ruffy and the Riverside, a charming title with an awesome, almost Paper Mario kind of art style to the characters, in which our hero Ruffy must stop the mischievous villain Growl from destroying the world core and throwing Riverside into chaos. The main mechanic is the magical power of swap, or capitalize, which allows you to transform the game world in countless ways, picking up textures in the game and placing it on something else. For example, you can change the sun into the moon, ice into lava, to take the vines texture and throw it onto a waterfall to make that a climbable surface and so on. So it opens up endless possibilities in terms of exploration and makes every moment feel magical and full of surprise. There will be a lively cast of characters, each with their own unique stories and dialogues, offering new and exciting quests to go on as you help them while trying to pursue the villain. But that's not all. Ruffy will also be able to leap into 2D levels to collect even more treasures, but this is intertwined with the swap mechanic, so you need to ensure that obstacles in the 2D world are cleared first before jumping in. The open world will have 7 distinct regions, each with unique challenges for plenty of variety. In collectathon fashion, there are many things to collect, including butterflies, dreamstones, etoi creatures, which I'm not sure what they are, as well as coins, each contributing to gameplay and customization options, looking lighthearted and fun, so I cannot wait for this release. One of the standout 2D platformers in recent memory is Webbed from 2021, in which you played as a cute spider, and the developers are naturally going into a 3D platformer this next time around with Isopod, a Webbed spin-off. Of course, instead of a spider, you play as an Isopod, conveniently having an armored shell and the ability to roll up into a ball, rolling around at great speeds, and can also bounce on mushrooms and more. Our Isopod is also able to jump, and the trailer does show off a grappling hook mechanic, with the explanation being that an ant strapped a magnet to your back, which you can then use to grapple to metallic surfaces. There are enemies here in the fire ants and some light combat elements, along with cosmetic customization for the Isopod, and looks pretty well made. We only have a teaser for Human Fall Flat 2, the sequel to a game from 2016, which is secretly one of the best-selling games on Steam, having an astounding 158,000 Steam reviews as of recording, so to say that it is insanely popular is an understatement. No gameplay footage is available, but at least from screenshots, it looks to be more of the same, but with a visual fidelity upgrade, and got picked up by Devolver, who are publishing it as well, so there should be something special here. One of the titles that got a lot of attention and success during its Kickstarter is Rollin' Rascal, one that sure looks like Sonic in all but name, since you are navigating through the whimsical world at breakneck speeds. The game will challenge your reflexes and creativity, since you are zipping through the world but have to avoid traps and time your jumps carefully as well, looking insanely fast and would make the blue blur proud. The sprawling levels gives you a variety of paths to explore, with hidden shortcuts and interactive elements that reward curiosity and experimentation as you poke and prod at the game. In addition to single player, you can also hop online and compete against other players in real-time multiplayer races, climbing the leaderboards, earning special rewards, and proving that you're the fastest in the world. Alright, it's always a little bit strange to be making videos like this previewing next year, since some TBA titles and games that still have 2024 listed might just surprise release out of nowhere, but as of recording, I do think that Baby Steps will be a 2025 release. If you're not familiar, this is the next title from Bennett40 and gang, with the other two developers listed also working with him on Ape Out, and they have gone back to the Rage game with this title. However, instead of a side-scroller, this is a 3D title instead, where you play as a, I quote, unemployed fail son who has somehow gotten sucked into the TV and must now put one foot in front of the other to make his way through the world. This harkens back to Bennett40's earlier title in Quark, only 3D this time, and looks equally insanely frustrating, with some of the levels that the trailer shows off looking insane, including some really very tiny platforms. It is super weird as well, with the character designs and humor, and looks to be very effective streamer bait. One of the more interesting 3D platformers in development is Billy Bustap, again having the two characters set up, this time of a bunny and a fox. But get this, it is a musical as well. I don't know where you stand on musicals, but I think that they can be cool, so I'm interested mixing the musical numbers with classic looking 3D platforming action. The concern, however, is that this is being published by Humble, which has kind of shut down its publishing arm, so legalities and stuff might be slowing it down, but the developer is actively posting on Twitter, so it is not cancelled as far as I know, so let's hope for more news on this. One of the most innovative titles in development is Screenbound, the self-styled 5D platformer where you're holding a portable handheld device and can switch between the game on the screen and the larger 3D world, being both a 2D and 3D platformer at the same time. It kind of melts your brain when you're looking at gameplay footage of this, since you don't really know where to look, with the handheld obscuring a large portion of the screen and essentially what is in front of your character, looking like quite the challenge in terms of navigation. Additionally, the 2D world will have enemies, platforms and secret doors which are not exactly shown in the 3D world, but games like this are why I love indie games, since it is just such a clever and innovative idea. Psst, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. one of the best games of 2024 is completely free, which is named The Big Catch Tackle Box, a standalone demo/prologue to this 3D platformer, which clocks in at something like 8 hours of playtime, so it is no wonder that people are excited for the full game. You play as a fisherman in this 3D platformer, using your fishing rod and line like a grappling hook, but also as a weapon and a tool to solve puzzles and interact with the environment. And of course, you can fish with it as well. The platforming and movement here are the focus and are awesome, so go try Tackle Box if you're curious, with the story focused around saving the restaurant where you work, known as The Big Catch, and looks like Game of the Year material whenever it releases. Watch this video for upcoming pixel art indie games of 2025.